I'd like to welcome our Christ Community family and all the viewers of this week's version of Wednesday's Word. This week we're looking at Psalm 142. I would like to read that to you. This is a prayer of David, and I'd like to go into that just a little bit and highlight a few verses so that we can learn about David and the struggles that he went through. So let's read Psalm 142. I cry aloud to the Lord. I lift up my voice to the Lord for mercy. I pour out my complaint before him. Before him, I tell my trouble. When my spirit grows faint within me, it is you who know my way. In the path where I walk, men have hidden a snare for me. Look to my right and see, no one is concerned for me. I have no refuge. No one cares for my life. I cry to you, O Lord. I say, you are my refuge, my portion in the land of the living. Listen to my cry, for I am in desperate need. Rescue me from those who pursue me, for they are too strong for me. Set me free from my prison, that I may praise your name. Then the righteous will gather about me because of your goodness to me. David prayed this prayer, and it's recorded as a Psalm of David. When he was in the cave, and if you remember that story, Saul with his great army was pursuing David and his men who had only a small army compared to Saul. You know, David, we kind of tried to put him up on a pedestal like he was something supernatural, but he was human just like us. He had no clue if this would be the day that he would die. He even had an opportunity to kill Paul, and his men encouraged him to do that, and he refused to do that because Saul was the Lord's anointed. But you know, as we look at this psalm, I think each one of us can identify with times in our lives when we've been in a cave, when things have not gone well, the loss of life, cancer. We can keep on putting on to that. Sometimes children that don't know the Lord, just things that weigh on us and put us in that cave when we have to cry to the Lord. But the thing that we always have to do when we cry to the Lord is to say, as David said in verse 5, I cry to you, O Lord. I say, you are my refuge, my portion in the land of the living. That's good for us to know because we have comfort in that knowledge. We have comfort in that knowledge that God is sovereign, that he is in control of all things, that nothing can happen without his will. In the New Testament, Jesus talks about us being worth more than sparrows, that not a hair can fall from our head without his knowledge. We have to always know and have that firm confidence that we have a God who cares for us in each and every way. If you look back at Psalm 73, a psalm of Asaph, he says in verse 26, my flesh and my heart may fail, but God is my strength. He is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Saying basically the same thing David says here in verse 5. In the New Testament, Jesus talks to his disciples a number of times. And he says there, in this world, you will have many troubles, but take heart, for I have overcome the world. Jesus also gives us another example, or another one of the accounts where there is a storm. The disciples are in the boat, and Jesus is asleep in the back of the boat. And think about the takeaway on that is that in the midst of the storm, Jesus was there. In the midst of the storm, he got up and said, peace, be still, and the storm was gone. So as we go through life, we have to have that confidence, that sure knowledge that God is not asleep at the wheel. He is always there. I believe it's Psalm 122 talks about that. That he never slumbers and he never sleeps. God's eye watches everything. So in the tragedies of life, and even as we think about, 20 years after 9/11, the tragedies in life point us to God, but we always have to know that he is in control and nothing happens outside of his will. And we come to that last verse in this psalm here. Set me free from my prison, that I may praise your name. Then the righteous will gather about me because of your goodness to me. We have a good, good Father, and he is always there for us. And as you go through this week, it is my prayer for you that you would take this with you, that every day through your life you would know that we have a Father who cares, that we will see troubles, but he has overcome the world. God bless you in this week. May God be gracious to you in all things.